Employee advocacy has become a popular concept within marketing, human resources and sales over the past few years. Despite its growing popularity, however, a significant number of brands and businesses are yet to leverage employees as sales, marketing or recruitment assets. Though employee advocacy has been around for decades as a concept, the introduction of the internet and social media have added countless new possibilities, revolutionising the way that we approach it. So, what exactly is employee advocacy? Employee advocacy involves the promotion of a company by the people who work for it. This can be as simple as sharing the latest post from your company blog on your personal LinkedIn feed, or spreading word of your company at events. To summarise, an employee advocate is someone who recommends a company's products or services, generates positive exposure and raises awareness for a brand, either over digital media or through offline channels, is an expert on your product or service, and can be a credible spokesperson for your company. Represents the best interests of the company, both externally and internally. Just as there are several definitions of an employee advocate, there are also several ways in which you can get an employee to advocate your brand. The common types of employee advocacy you can use include social media employee advocacy, merchandise, incentives and recognition. I'll go over each of these in a little more detail now. As I mentioned before, social media has transformed the way in which brands can leverage employee advocacy. This is because your customers spend much of their free time on social networks, making it an ideal place from which to capture their attention. By getting your employees to post articles, images and other content on their social channels, you can really increase your reach. Next up, merchandise. I guess this one is pretty self-explanatory. Giving out t-shirts, stationery, key rings, etc. provides your employees with a super simple means of showing off your brand without too much effort on their part. Whenever your employees use a water bottle with your logo on it, or wear your branded sweater, they are spreading the word of your brand and acting as an advocate. Lastly, incentives and recognition. We all crave recognition, and taking the time to formally recognise employees who perform well can be really beneficial for business. In fact, studies have shown that over 70% of businesses claim recognition given for high performers had a noteworthy impact on employee engagement. You don't have to do anything complex here. You could start schemes as simple as naming your employee of the month. Set aside some time each week to acknowledge specific employees for their efforts or accomplishments and share these updates on your social feeds. This is a brilliant tactic for creating employee advocates and spreading the word of your brand. According to LinkedIn, companies with a strong employee advocacy program, so where your employees share business updates on their personal accounts and engage with the company page, are a whopping 58% more likely to attract top talent. This makes sense, as a potential prospect is likely to search for your organisation on LinkedIn or Google, in which case LinkedIn will show up in the search results. When your employees or co-workers have an active presence on LinkedIn, these prospects can gain valuable insights into who they would be working with. This kind of insight is completely different to that gained through meetings or interviews. LinkedIn profiles show the experience, values and skill set of each employee from their own perspective, which gives prospects a well-rounded view of a team. For this reason, you should encourage your colleagues and employees to add their position at your company to their LinkedIn profiles. Your company page will then be linked from their profiles, and their profiles will appear on your company page. Through leveraging your employees as brand ambassadors, you can quickly increase your reach with the audience that you are trying to engage. Remind your team that when they share relevant content, they can boost brand awareness for the company while also building their personal brands. What's more, you can grow your network further by encouraging your employees to connect with one another. In expanding their networks, your employees will be exposed to more content, and when they share content themselves, it will reach a wider audience in their newly extended network. This increases the reach of your business while also organically growing your community. What's not to like? As a fully fledged marketing tactic, employee advocacy involves a strategic and sustainable program of encouraging employees to share messages and brand values in an organic way. An effective employee advocacy program should really be implemented with goals in mind and metrics ready to track, so that you can keep an eye on how you're progressing towards your objectives. Employee advocacy should also be set up in a sustainable manner, so that you can consistently rely on the support and social proof it provides. We know for a fact that when your employees are armed with a goal-orientated plan for sharing your content, your digital reach can grow dramatically. We'll go into this in much more detail in the next lesson. So, aside from simply raising brand awareness, employee advocacy can also attract new business and, of course, new talent. As we've already mentioned, increasing the reach of your brand through the networks of your employees can significantly boost your visibility, which in turn can capture the attention of prospective customers. This is particularly effective when employees share content that will appeal to your target audience. It makes sense when you think about it. An enthusiastic employee discussing the way in which they resolved a client's pain points is more likely to win over prospective customers than a generic standalone advert. The type of content that works well in this scenario includes thought leadership posts from managers, case studies that demonstrate your strengths, articles about your niche, useful company insights, and instructional webinars or ebooks. With regards to attracting new talent, employee advocacy can be super effective. Think about it. Most companies are trying to generate high workplace morale through company trips, employee perks, and development initiatives. It can be hard for organisations to promote these efforts from the top down without sounding insincere or self-congratulatory. By encouraging your employees to share their impressions and experiences of your company from their own perspective, you can effectively communicate the benefits of your company in a more authentic and believable way. The type of content that works well here includes recaps from company events, job postings, company news, information about products, and general office life content that shows your workplace behind the scenes. In case you still need more persuading as to why you should leverage employee advocacy for your business, let me take you through some more of the benefits. On the whole, employees have larger social networks than corporate brands. Employee advocacy then has the power to significantly extend your reach. Let me demonstrate with an example. Say that you have 20 employees who each have an average of 250 contacts in their networks. If each of these employees share a piece of company news, there is the potential for that content to reach the feed of 5,000 people. And that's just first-degree connections. The reach beyond this has the scope to be really quite remarkable, with your content potentially increasing its reach exponentially. As well as extending your reach, employee shares tend to be viewed as more authentic than corporate shares, which means the public are more likely to engage with them. What's more, employee advocacy has been proven to increase sales. As you know, a strong social media presence is imperative in modern sales. Employee advocates fill the need of consumers looking for trusted advisors who can solve their problems. When you enlist your salespeople in your employee advocacy scheme, you are allowing them to become the trusted advisor for your following. These individuals know what they are doing on social media. They are active and easy to engage with. In fact, their sharing efforts on LinkedIn can greatly increase profile views and your professional network. As you can see, employee advocacy has the power to boost brand awareness, generate leads, and increase your followers. The benefits are simply too great to overlook. I'm sure you'll agree. Now, head over to the next lesson, where we'll cover some actionable steps for getting started with your employee advocacy strategy. See you there. As you know, the goal of pretty much any employee advocacy program is to leverage the social networks of employees for the benefit of the company they work for, as well as the employees themselves. Generally speaking, employee advocacy provides opportunities for employees to improve their professional profile online, to better engage with contacts, progress their careers, and expand their networks. For a business, employee advocacy works to drive brand recognition, improve engagement, boost referral traffic, increase organic sharing, generate new leads, and source new business contacts. When we break it down like that, it's clear that employee advocacy is something that every company should get behind. That's probably why more companies than ever before, in an increasing number of industries, are expressing an interest in the concept. To demonstrate, let me go through a few examples of brands that are doing this right. Dell. As one of the most powerful voices in tech today, Dell needs no introduction. Working with both consumer and business customers around the world, the company's employees have amassed a wealth of industry knowledge that is regularly shared over social media channels. Dell's marketing strategy has focused on social media for years. Interestingly, Dell was one of the earliest large tech companies to deploy social media monitoring technology. Dell adopted a structured program of employee advocacy that encouraged employees to find and share their own content alongside whatever the Dell marketing team had provided. Rather than forcing employees to share corporate communications, the company aimed to create a strategy in which employees could discover, curate, and share interesting content. By empowering their workforce with creative freedom, Dell has enjoyed a hugely successful employee advocacy scheme. Hundreds of thousands of pieces of content have been shared, generating 45,000 clicks back to the Dell website. This is a fantastic example of a company success being born from individual success. Zendesk. This popular customer service software provider started their employee advocacy program by getting employees to promote content from their blog. In order to generate leads and establish relationships with their online clientele, Zendesk empowered its sales team to distribute content and position themselves as thought leaders. The sales team shared content on social media, which resulted in more leads for the company. Next up, let's take a look at the tech company Cooper. Cooper have always encouraged their employees to use social media to their advantage. According to their social media strategist, Cooper's employee advocacy started with a weekly email that featured key company content to be shared, along with pre-packaged shares that employees could post on their feeds. However, as the company grew and the number of emails being sent each week increased, this system became largely ineffective. Cooper then adopted a more sophisticated system, which carefully planned out content creation and distribution. The company provided a platform that employees could log into each morning to read daily industry and company news, which they could then share with their own social feeds. Cooper recognised and rewarded employees who had generated the most shares and clicks. In just 1 month, Cooper's social media reach had more than quadrupled. We know then that employee advocacy centres on the act of employees sharing content online about their jobs, professional interests, and company. The strategy relies heavily on companies leveraging their employees as digital influencers. While employee advocacy has been leveraged for B2B companies for quite some time, it's only in recent years that B2C companies are jumping on board as well. Until recently, many B2C brands have overlooked their employees and have instead focused solely on paid advertising to drive their social media marketing efforts. Now, before diving into your own employee advocacy program, it's wise to take a step back and plan out a strategy. This is particularly important as employee advocacy is not simply about getting your employees to share any old content about your company online. Many companies over the years have tried this approach, only to find that their employees are, unsurprisingly, reluctant to blast their contacts with corporate content. Rather, a strong employee advocacy program should be well defined and clearly provide value for both your company and your employees. The success of your strategy will depend entirely on how engaged your employees are. In order to keep them engaged, the benefits need to be extremely clear from the start. So, before you even begin devising a content distribution plan, we recommend that you first work towards engaging your employees. This could be as simple as helping them to complete their professional profiles. You don't have to drop a load of cash here either. For instance, you could arrange for a photographer to come into the office and take everyone's headshots. Alternatively, if you have a graphics department, you could ask them to create a fun banner image that all your employees could add to their profiles. You could and should also take the time to train your employees. The likelihood is that not all your team will know how best to contribute to the program. So, it's really worthwhile that you run a helpful training program on a regular basis. This training should take your employees through the best practices and the standards you expect them to meet when they engage on any given network. The small details here can make a big difference. Through ensuring that everyone meets certain standards, such as consistently using specific hashtags or a tone of voice, for instance, you will ensure that your program is scalable and sustainable. In helping your employees to better understand the best practices for both your brand and the social platform on which they're operating, you will inevitably improve the chances of enjoying high levels of engagement for your business. What's more, your employee advocacy program should also celebrate the diversity of your team. Though you will have guidelines and a specific brand identity that should not be overlooked, your strategy should most definitely hone in on the personalities of your employees and encourage them to be themselves. Okay, I think we're now ready to look at launching your own program. Goes without saying that every company is different. This means that every employee advocacy program is going to look a bit different. Regardless of your industry or the size of your company, it helps to begin with a simple plan that really just covers your key goals. What are you hoping to achieve here? And why do you think employee advocacy will help carry you towards smashing your goals? This bare bones plan will not simply help you to build internal support, it will also help you to organise your priorities. Take a moment now to write down your goals. What does success look like to you? In the last lesson, we covered the most common goals of employee advocacy programs, namely raising brand awareness, attracting new business, and generating leads. Could also be the case that you are looking to accelerate sales, increase employee retention, or attract new talent. Whatever employee advocacy means for you, the more granular your goals are at this stage, the more effective your strategy will be overall. Planning out clear objectives and KPIs will go a long way in helping you reach your objectives. Do not underestimate the power of organisation. Next, we'd recommend that you share your plans across all departments and ask for feedback. Are you missing anything obvious? Here's a great opportunity to get valuable insights before you begin making concrete plans. Okay, so now it's time to start thinking about how you are going to implement your plans. Generally speaking, it's best to start small at this stage, regardless of how many employees you have. There really is no need to rush here. It's much easier to steadily build up a solid employee advocacy program than it is to recover from a failed one. Begin with a select group of employees who will act as your core advocates. They should be employees who are already active on social media, preferably those who are active in a professional capacity. These individuals are going to serve as examples for everyone else who will eventually join the program. They are also, to an extent, your guinea pigs. So be sure to ask them for feedback along the way. Remember, not every employee will make for a great advocate. Some may not have social followings large enough to justify the effort, while others may not wish to use social media at all. Just because you are following an organised system, it does not mean that you should enforce the program on everyone. Are you going to be responsible for running the program, or will you be appointing an admin? It's really important that whoever is in control has a clear grasp of what needs to be achieved on a daily basis. If you are looking to appoint someone else as admin, be sure that they are up to speed with current social best practices and that they really believe in the cause. Proper management of your program is particularly important as employee advocacy is constantly shifting. Weekly content output will likely vary depending on industry news, company events, and marketing goals. To keep engagement levels high, you need to ensure that content distribution is consistent and creative every step of the way. Before you officially launch, spend some time collecting content for your employees to share. Get started on the right foot with an archive of interesting content for your employees to choose from. We really have covered a lot of ground in this lesson. So, to summarise, teach your employees to focus on engagement rather than selling, and they will become fantastic sources of positive engagement for your brand. Avoid making up your schedule as you go along. Creating a detailed strategy will help you stay on track and greatly improve your overall chances of success. Maintain a bank of interesting content that can be accessed by your advocates. Keep this supply fresh and current to inspire shares. Assign responsibility to someone who will be in charge of keeping up the momentum and monitoring output. Make it easy for your employees to share content by making information easy to find and sending out weekly reminders. Show appreciation for those who participate and don't force involvement. That's it for now. I'll see you in the next lesson, where we'll be looking at creating a sustainable and effective content distribution plan.